but as soon as I hit go live, it'll have all this. Oh, I think I can hit it. Oh, I hit it. That means we're live and you heard everything that was coming beforehand. Don't forget to check me out at youtube.com/Lore Reloaded, as well as twitter.com/Lore Reloaded. Kevin Persinger has a question mark. That's kind of odd, if you ask me, good sir. Kind of rude. You know what you should do? You should go to twitch.tv/Lore Reloaded and follow me there. Why do we have that? What's going on, Mr. Foxy Cracker? We also got Charles Stromville, who is a pretender. I know that he doesn't hit or use question marks. And so let's just go ahead and jump into this and have a conversation. As you guys know, I start out with the topic, then we go wherever you want to go. Really, it's your stream when you look at it. What's going on, Rabid Rab? Michael Weir into his house. Anthony Tellerico, Trayvon 158. So, I'm doing my breakdown, and I'm finally getting to the piece where I discuss the Maquis and going through a little bit about it. It's not going to be as much as what I usually do because they don't have as huge a role in the Dominion War. However, when breaking down some of the events, I realized, well, I knew this before, but I didn't realize how much. The Klingon Empire apparently gave the Maquis 34 Class 4 cloaking devices. Now, of course, we don't know what Class 4 is or where Class 4 is at. We also know that the Romulan Star Empire gave a cloaking device to the Dominion. Not Dominion, to the Federation, the Defiant, which I don't know why they didn't get it from the Klingons or utilize their own, but, you know, whatever. Bird of Prey helping out the channel. As always, it's viewers like you, Patreons, members, and Super Chats that help the channel go. That number isn't random. That is what I need to keep the lights on every day. So they gave 34, or anywhere from 30 to 34 cloaking devices to terrorists. And then, lo and behold, we're really surprised when the terrorists supposedly utilize those cloaks to strap them on weapons of mass destruction. So here's my question. During the Deep Space Nine era, it really feels like to me that cloaking tech was no longer something that was super special or was military secrets like what we see in Star Trek, the original series, and a little bit of the Next Generation. It would seem like they're normalized military tech, something that is kept, something that is highly restricted, but isn't necessarily rare to see at this point, given how freely it's given away. And in fact, in some episodes before, I believe it was before that, we even see Quark stealing a cloaking device, which apparently isn't as hard as they make it sound. And the cloaking device itself is apparently cloaked, which makes a ton of sense. But anyway, that's my Darth Nicta, to your point, you say cloaking devices are a tool. I don't disagree, but in the original series and some parts of the Next Generation, it was a tool that just couldn't be touched. It was, you know, like this big bad, something that just was thought to be the top of the top. Even early DS9 tried to make it seem like a big deal, but now it seems like, while it's still, again, restricted, it no longer is something that is out of the reach, even of terrorist cells. Anthony Tellerico helping out the channel. Again, thank you so much. Hey, Lore, you raised a good question. Why didn't the Federation get the cloaking device from the Klingons? And I think it's an excellent question, and one that we don't really necessarily have a huge... we don't have a lot of answers to. The Klingons would be perfect, and I'm willing to bet they would be more than happy to give a cloaking device to the Federation. Now, if I had to guess, I would say the reason why Starfleet went with the Romulans was because they didn't really want to piss the Romulans off. They had the Treaty of Algernon, which required them to not have cloaking devices. And so, in order to keep that treaty intact or ensure that the Romulans don't get angry, they decided to ask the Romulans and utilize the Romulans' technology so that they wouldn't start any wars or something like that. And that really seems very Starfleet-esque. I say the Defiant was able to use the cloak freely in the Alpha Quadrant because it was during the Dominion Cold War and the Romulans did not want to fight the Feds. Yeah, but see, even if you accepted that, during the Dominion War, before the Romulans joined, the Federation is using Romulan technology, which you think might cause some issues with Dominion-Romulan relations. It doesn't make a ton of sense. And they really just hoped everyone forgot. By the way, Continuum Trek has a good point. You guys like this? You're here watching it. If you're consistently watching it, hit the like button. It ensures more people watch and expands the conversation. Romulan cloaks are arguably better. I don't know that we can tell which ones are better or which ones aren't. Romulan cloaking technology was breached by the Dominion, so we know that they can now find it. When it comes to which is better, I don't know that we can tell. It does appear that it would make sense because the Romulans would more focus on technology and subterfuge, whereas the Klingons just needed something to work, you know? Starfleet probably also thought it was a good way to try to work with the Romulans. Yeah, I mean, they just didn't want to start a war. Michael Weir helping out the channel, always there. Thank you so much. Starfleet stole one in Star Trek the original series. You telling me they couldn't copy it in 100 years? I mean, not only could they actually copy it, they did and made a better version. In the Next Generation, remember, they had that cloaking technology that not only cloaked, but went through solid matter. But through dialogue in the Next Generation and the Treaty of Algernon, they agreed never to make cloaking technology at all. But that's my point. I think that any major empire probably had the ability to get and design their own cloaking technology. And just given how much was out there, they just, for whatever reason, opted or decided not to. And it may have been more cost-effective for regional powers, such as the Cardassian Union, not to make those. And it could be that given where Cardassia was, they just had not really they really did not have the opportunity to get their hands on a Romulan cloak. Possibly. Why did the Maquis not use the cloak on their ships to place explosives onto Cardassian ships and facilities? They may have. We don't know how they utilized the Romulan or the Klingon cloaks ultimately. It's an interesting episode because Martok seems annoyed when they find out that the Maquis may have used the cloaks to put them onto missiles. But you're dealing with terrorists. Yeah, the terrorists did say that they're going to put it on their ships, but these aren't honorable people. And that's not to say that you can argue whether what they were doing was right or not. They were committing terrorist activities at that point. So, and the Maquis aren't above lying. Even if we called them freedom fighters, they aren't above lying. Jeff Franklin, yes, a phase cloaking device. You guys don't know your TNG lore? Come on. Hold on, let me get you the exact... It's called the Pegasus. The Pegasus was the name of the TNG episode, and they had phase cloaking. Yeah. Another thing that is an interesting concept here is that the episode. What is the episode that I'm looking at? Hold on. I'm sorry. I've been doing so much research. I'm really behind, though. I mean, these are the days that I can actually do scripting and stuff, but I do it all the time. I just want to take a break, but I get behind. All right, so Blaze of Glory. DS9's Blaze of Glory. DS9's Blaze of Glory, they show that you can take cloaking devices, strap them to tri-cobalt devices, or strap them to quantum torpedoes or regular torpedoes, or all kinds of different devices. Just strap it to one and then shoot it at a planet. And apparently that's a good way to destroy that planet. Martok and Cisco talk about how this is a threat and this could actually happen. So my question is during the Dominion War, why wasn't at a minimum the Dominion, the Klingon Empire, and Romulan Star Empire strapping cloaking devices to weapons of mass destruction and shooting them at capital planets? I was referring to Dave Gorman's comment about a phased clocking. Oh, clocking, yeah. Phased clocking devices are pretty stout, too. Do you think Starfleet will use cloaking devices after the Romulan supernova? I wouldn't see why they wouldn't. They may not, just to have it in there. Honestly, it would be interesting maybe as a Easter egg to have them start using cloaking devices because of the Romulan Star Empire being completely destroyed. So it could be interesting. How much would it cost for you to sing Sam Hall by Johnny Cash while wearing a tuck shirt, jacket, and vest with grass skirt instead of pants while playing a guitar? $500 plus whatever it costs to rent the costume. Makes you wonder why Dreadnought didn't get a cloak. Yeah, so and that's a good point too. When you talk about Dreadnought in Voyager, that was, which is just ridiculous. By the way, apparently Cardassians have quantum torpedoes of some sort. Dreadnought proves that. And then Dreadnought, the most advanced missile that would destroy literally everything. And the Maquis don't put a cloaking device. I mean, maybe you could argue they didn't have the cloaking devices at that time, but still. To answer your missile question, why destroy what you're trying to dominate, Traven 158? Well, the reason, Traven 158, you would do that is because you're losing the war. You're losing the... you're about to have your entire civilization destroyed. The Federation and Klingon Empire were about to just be annihilated. The other piece to it is that if you're looking to take Cardassia, you don't really have much. And if you want to win the war with the least amount of casualties, and you don't have to nuke every planet, just hit Cardassia. Cardassia lacks any resources anyway. Take out Cardassia and a lot of the rest will fall, especially if the founder is on Cardassia. Definitely don't forget to hit that like button. 80 people watching, only 38 likes. It's sad. It's sad. I imagine after the Dominion War, the Federation would negotiate with the Romulans to be able to use cloaks. Maybe. We can't tell for sure. We don't know where everything goes. When we look at not Insurrection. When we look at Nemesis, I think it's Nemesis. When we look at Star Trek Nemesis, that was after the war. It was either after or during the Dominion War, and it seemed like there was still some issues. They weren't as close as they had been. Relations had frosted over. I guess they don't use weapons of mass destruction each other would be the same reason no one pushed the button in Cold War. Yeah, the Dominion and Romulans are well known for not taking that extra step, even if it meant a mutually assured destruction. Well, in Star Trek Online, the Federation uses cloaking devices. The Eclipse and Phantom classes utilize cloak. Yeah, but that's still technically right now beta canon. In the treaty, why would Starfleet be the only one of the big three to not utilize cloak? Well, again, the Treaty of Algeron resulted in the deaths of thousands of Starfleet officers, and it possibly meant that there was going to be another war between the Romulan Star Empire and the Federation. And at that time, you have to remember, Starfleet and the Federation were so pacifistic, they were willing to let their own people die to prevent a war. And so they saw the Romulans agreed to go back to their corner and not bug anybody. And the border between them, the neutral zone, was set up, and the Federation promised never to deal with cloaking devices. Yeah, again, I don't believe the Dominion would be worried about mutually assured destruction. Again, they don't care about solids, so they would simply nuke planets, and if the others retaliated, oh, who cares? Oh, look, more dead solids. Oh, no. The Romulans would believe that they'd be able to stop anything that came at them, and the Klingons are just bloodthirsty. So the question is, what do the Romulans and Klingons give up? Again, the Romulans agreed to go back into their own little empire and not mess with anybody for like 50 to 100 years. And they agreed to the creation of the neutral zone, which if anyone entered meant war. And then, oh God, they all entered the neutral zone and it was never war. Though Charles Ryan Lee brings up, in All Good Things, one refit Enterprise D did use a cloaking device. This was after the destruction of the Romulan Star Empire, which is why they probably started using it. Has anyone read any of the 2 issues of the Orville comic? I heard it was out. I haven't read it. Yeah, but the Enterprise D refit was the what? Because the Klingons defeated the Romulans. Yeah. Yeah, automate starships' bridges with hologram crews would have saved lots of lives, so why didn't the Federation use that against the Dominion? Well, they probably didn't have the setup for it. At the time of the Dominion War, the emergency medical hologram was being utilized on sickbay and sickbay alone. Remember, the emergency hologram couldn't leave. So when it came to the utilization of holodeck technology, they probably weren't there yet. Now, sometime into the Dominion War, before the Romulans actually joined, we do have the Prometheus. Was it the Prometheus? I think it's the Prometheus. USS Prometheus. Yeah, we have the Prometheus, which has emitters on all decks and could be run by 8 to 12 people. And so it's possible that they were utilizing holograms in that instance. Put Dreadnought's AI and weapons array in a Galore class ship and a Galore class ship? You could. It makes no sense that they did not make more of those. Even if it was a prototype, it makes absolutely no sense, in my opinion. What about Houdini mines, transphasic mines? Asked Nasum Ognum. They did actually use Houdini mines, which was interesting because they sit there and talk about how the enemy utilizes them, and then all of a sudden Starfleet begins to utilize them. Jeff Franklin, I'm glad you love my chair. I'm actually going to work on it at some point. I think I just need to tighten the screws. Yeah. The command hologram was on Voyager, and if we have completely automated starships, what's the point in humans being explorers anymore? Well, you can still be an explorer and them have holograms, especially if you only use those holograms to fight wars. And, of course, everything else is automated, so where does it stop? Oh, we want to be the ones to explore? Okay, well, you can have explore ships and hologram ships. One hit on the power distribution system and half your crew would disappear. Sure, of course, one system goes out. The life support and all your people die. Inertial dampeners go out, all your people die. I mean, you put a hole in the side of the ship, all your people die, so. The Dominion knew that the Alpha Alliance would never agree. Okay. So, I mean, the Dominion, I don't understand. The Dominion knew that the Alpha Alliance, the Starfleet Alliance, the Federation Alliance would never agree to mutually assured destruction. Okay. Laughable Larry helping out the channel. Best YouTube channel ever. Well, you are the best watcher of the YouTube channel ever. Yeah, JR Chadwick, we already talked about that. Again, thank you guys so much. Chadwick, JR, I don't think I've seen you in a while, buddy. If I have, then I apologize. But if I haven't, I hope you're doing well, man. Why have a holographic crew when you just simulate exploring the universe safely inside the thing they trap Moriarty in forever? Hidden Trail Video understands. I mean, that's really all you... With the holodeck, who the hell cares what is out there? I wouldn't. I would stay in my home. I agree. Great call out. Isn't it against the rules of being a warrior for the Klingons to have a cloaking device in the first place? To sneak upon your enemy is not honorable. I mean, not necessarily. It depends on how you look at the Klingons' opinions and how they address honor. It can be honorable to use every advantage that you have. It's just you don't. Honor more comes into attacking when they can't defend themselves, or when it doesn't when it's not appropriate. 14K Liam, what's going on? I'm doing well. Hope you are well. After the disaster with the M5 unit, Starfleet would be very leery of turning warships over to AIs. Yep, I mean, we've talked about that. I actually have a video breakdown of that where when you look at it, there's almost a Battlestar Galactica dystopia when it comes to AI, where they're in fact scared of it. You have Riker, where he doesn't want to give the ship the ability to decide who lives or dies, even when the only other option is that they definitely will die. It's kind of it's intriguing, honestly, when you break it down and you look at it from that point. Why a holographic crew when you could have fully automated system control program? That's true. I mean, if you're going to utilize an AI, holograms don't really even seem necessary to a point. Why build all of that? The only reason you would do it is if you wanted to interchange live crew with holographic crew. Bradley is the Voyager EMH couldn't think on his holographic feet. What? I could see Section 31 using a transporter gun to beam out someone's heart. I could see them doing that too. Does the AI skepticism extend to Commander Data? Yes, Axamanatitan. It actually does. We see evidence that because of who Data is, because he's an AI, because he's more looked as a robot, he is looked down upon and not to be trusted. We see this with the bigoted Dr. McOldingpants that no one liked. What the hell was her name? She replaced Beverly Crusher. Anyway, Dr. McOldpants that nobody liked. We saw this with the XO when Data took command of another starship. He said that androids aren't meant to be captains and requested to be traded out. We see this when he's put on trial in A Measure of a Man. Data is constantly treated differently, and I think it does go along with the fact that the computer, because he is put into the same place, or he's considered the same as the computer. Yeah, Pulaski. Yes. The bigoted witch of the West. Here's a bit of trivia. The reason the Klingons have bird of prey ships and cloaks is because the Romulans were originally the baddies in Star Trek 3. I have a book with the original script. I have the screenplay script. That's interesting. The reason the Klingons... I don't know, cloaks, there's actually something else behind that. Reason they gave the Klingons the cloaks was because of a episode where they broke one of the models and they had to use a Klingon model, and so they gave it over to her. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, 14 Kalium, we were actually talking about the 34 cloaks that were given. Wow, Ariel Ballet, giving $21, making it $50. Again, guys, thank you so much. I need that much to keep the lights on. I really, truly appreciate it. Everything after this is going to go towards the $300 fund, where I will try to go faster in making the movie breakdowns. So thank you so much. You guys don't know how much that helps. We have, of course, 90 people watching and only 54 likes. Don't forget to hit that like button. The more people watch it, the longer I can stay on, the more of a conversation we can have. Dr. Pulaski was my least favorite medical officer. She was my least favorite Starfleet officer overall, including the ones that turned against Starfleet. I mean, she was just a horrific character, written so poorly. Even if a ship had a fully integrated AI, it would still need mobile maintenance, extensions, or robots to make physical repairs and correct battle damage. Sure. Also, Data's first officer in the show, where he takes command of Picard's fleet. Yeah, we discussed that, Jeffrey. Is Kirk the rule or the exception? A lot of people will sit there and try to determine Kirk's style and who Kirk was, and if he was consistent. I honestly think Jan helping out the channel. Thank you so much. Giving DKK 50 DKK. Thank you so much. The a lot of people give Kirk guff, but I think he was a lot more regimented and military than a lot of the captains we see in the Next Generation, and even some in Deep Space Nine. So I don't think he was as I don't know, out there as people like to think that he is. Additionally, what's interesting is when you break down Kirk, when you think about Kirk, he's not the smartest. And he's also not the most physically inclined. Kirk has an amazing ability to think on his feet or when under pressure, change the rules of the game to win. Regardless of if his opponent is more powerful than him physically, mentally, or if he's in a situation where he's going on with someone who is more powerful. How's the $500 chair fund coming? Ironically, the guy who complained hasn't given me the money for that. So I'm hoping that at some point he'll be able to change it. Mr. Hobson, you will carry out my order or I will relieve you of duty. J.R. Chadwick doing the breakdown. You know, that was an interesting back and forth. He also brings up and talks about how a certain species couldn't be an engineer, which goes against the way the Federation and Starfleet looked at things. You could be whatever you want, diversity and all that good stuff. The ending was really good. It was short and it wasn't really fleshed out. Talk to you later. Michael Weir, thank you so much for watching. It wasn't really fleshed out, and that's unfortunate. I wish that they had more interaction between them. But the ending when he said, yes, sir, or thank you, Captain, or whatever, I did think it was powerful. It just wasn't as powerful. Hey, yo, Mr. Lore, how are you doing? I am doing well. Hope you guys are doing well. Dr. Charisma, what's up, Lore? How are you doing? Still loyal to your channel? Dr. Charisma, I love you. I love you. All right, guys. I'm getting a call I have to take, so give me a quick second, okay? 1 second. I'm going to dance while I do it. Sorry, guys. We're saying goodbye to my kids. Good night to my kids. Yeah, Connor, the sound was out on purpose. Anyway, sound is back. Keep your chair the way I am going to keep my chair the way. Anyway, so what? Sorry about that. Again, I say goodnight to my kids and sing to them. So where were we? What were we talking about? Because this is the weekend they're with their mom. Mist of Love got you up and ready. Plays old vid while waiting, says Nick. What's going on, Brian? The sound isn't out. He muted the stream. The shield created by a Ferengi. As McCoy said after Kirk questioned his decision to destroy the Enterprise in search of Spock, that Kirk turns death into a fighting chance to live. Yeah, I would agree, and that's kind of like what we were discussing beforehand, right? That the way Kirk works is he he's not smarter. He's not more powerful. He just has a way of making things work, you know? By the way, let me know if you can hear me, because you guys should be able to. Add cool LED lights. I should. Don't cross the streams. I do hope on the Picard series they will hit a little on the Dominion War fallout. I see it going in one of two ways. I either see them using it to become more towards whatever goal, how war is bad, or to even maybe push a pacifistic or progressive maybe viewpoint. Or they're just not going to bring it up at all. They're going to pretend like it never happened. You know, what's sad is they're not bringing back some of the DS9 crew. I really wish that they would. I really do. You know, but I don't think they will. I really highly doubt it. Is the Voyager episode flashback? Janeway says Kirk would have been kicked out of Starfleet in the Next Generation era. Yeah, I don't know if it was flashback, but I can tell you that it was absolutely horrific. That was... one of the worst episodes and worst dialogue lines Janeway ever said. I mean, and it was trying to be... They were trying to sit there and say, you know, this is a good thing, or you know, it's kind of like cowboys in space. They were trying to reference back to that. But it showed how pompous Starfleet had become, you know? By the way, Dr. Charisma, I already said this, but what's up, Lore? How are you doing? Still loyal to your channel? Dr. Charisma, I'm still loyal to you. I am still loyal to you. Some mentioned the shield that allows a ship to sit inside a star. Sure. I forget what the shield is, but yes, they did. Always seemed to me he was the best while thinking on his feet. Kirk could take a certain train of thought and bring it around to a logical conclusion. Yeah, or he could be clever enough to outwit or outthink someone. Not that he was smarter, but Picard broke the Prime Directive a couple of times himself, so I'm not sure that Kirk would be kicked out. Well, I think you can say there is a definitive difference between Picard and Kirk. I don't know. You know, I don't know. It's bad dialogue. What do you think would happen if Star Trek had AIs like Andromeda, Halo, The Ghost in the Shell? Would you think they would be more effective with them than not? We do have AIs, but they were always held back. Anytime we had a actual AI, it did turn out more Battlestar Galactica, where they tried to kill everybody and everything. There's a large theory that the Star Trek Discovery 3 will basically be Andromeda in space. I'm not convinced of that. Janeway belongs in the Mirror Universe. Janeway is from the Mirror Universe. How do you think Sisko would have dealt with Khan if he was in Kirk's position? Probably similar to the way Kirk would. Axamenetitan, would Patton make it in today's army? I don't know. Do you think Kirk would have beaten the Borg at Wolf 359? Yes. By sexing the Queen. Would have just 100% won the Battle of Wolf 359 because he would have given the sexies to the Queen. They really underutilized the miniature portable transporter in general, but in DS9 specifically. Did they have miniature transporters? Where's that? From the Next Generation, I want to say? I think Patton would hate... Is there a possibility that the Maquis issues at the end of the war that weren't actually resolved, thus a renewed interest in a neo-Maquis Israel? Is there a possibility that the Maquis issues at the end of the war, the Maquis issues were pretty resolved since all Maquis were dead, and so there weren't Maquis to be oppressed anymore. Ironically, though, the space the Maquis had would go back to Cardassians. But there wouldn't be any... there's no Maquis to really continue the fight. I mean, could there be Neo-Maquis? Maybe, but the reason why they were fighting is gone. No one would really want to join that, you know? Is there a possibility? Nope, I already said that. He would have used Starfleet's pimp hand. Yeah, that's what he would have done. The point-to-point transporters in the episode where Dr. Crusher was abducted cause life-threatening complications. The point-to-point transporter in that episode where Dr. Crusher was abducted. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they could have used that they didn't. In Deep Space Nine, in Paradise Lost, they talk about having personal force fields that could go around the body that are never used, which would have been wonderful. I don't think the Queen was on the ship that encountered in Wolf 359. According to Star Trek canon, in First Contact, she specifically states she was on that ship and it was rewritten. You have Locutus on there with her. Now, could she have been utilizing some kind of mind control or the augments to the stuff in his brain to rewrite it? Could she have been lying? Yeah, but, it's more accepted that she was actually there. In-game ends with Janeway going to time prison. Probably not. She probably takes control of the time, people. Do you think Starfleet's purposefully holding back AI tech is somewhat responsible for soldiers dying in Wolf 359? No, I think Starfleet's age of pacifism is responsible for a lot of the deaths in Wolf 359. Starfleet deciding not to build technology that could defeat people, not remembering that they're a fucking military, caused people to die at Wolf 359. The holding back of AI, could AI have defeated the Borg? Maybe, but you really don't know, and that's not the way they went with it, right? The Nemesis button was a locator beacon thing. Maybe. Didn't they actually use those personal shields in Voyager? I don't ever remember them utilizing personal shields in Voyager, ever. And if they did, they only used it once, which is stupid because they should have been using them all the time. Yeah, Khan used a transporter to get to the Klingon homeworld, then it's just forgot. Oh, you're talking in the Kelvin timeline, of course. I thought Picard said he remembered the Queen was there. I think she was just in his head, as she was with all of the Borg. Yeah, I mean, Picard said she was there, and the Queen said she was there at Wolf 359. He even says that. He says, you were at Wolf 359. Yeah, Connor, they literally addressed that. First of all, the Queen in First Contact could not have been in the Battle of Wolf 359. The ship and all the Borg on it were destroyed. What did she say immediately after that? I think you're trolling me, because immediately after that, she says, you humans think in such three-dimensional and limited ways. Can a knife get through a personal shield like in Frank Herbert's Dune? We have no idea. I don't know how the force fields work. They might work like the Droideca's shields where you just have to go slow enough. In the DS9 episode where Quark started selling weapons, we saw that armored combat suits exist, yet Starfleet ground troops never got them. Yep, because that would make them a military, and God forbid. Personal shields were utilized in the game Voyager Elite Force. Well, yeah, of course they're going to be used in games, but I don't think we ever utilize them in the actual show. The Queen is also a program and can move like Data is trying to move. Arguably, maybe. I don't know if I don't know if it's as simple as her being a program. By the way, people, 97 people watching, only 68 likes. Hit that like button if you enjoy these conversations. Definitely hit that like button. Do it. Do it now. I need to script tonight, and I don't want to do that. I really need to, though. Because God only knows how bad how bad it's going to be to get everything done. And then I got school coming up. Ugh. I know y'all come on to listen to me complain. I know that's why you watch. J.R. Chadwick, in Voyager, we meet humans and Bajorans who were assimilated at Wolf 359. How did they survive? They must have been a second vessel. Yeah, so Voyager, especially in the later seasons, didn't really care about, and I even talked with a writer, didn't really care about continuity, just wanted a good story. I mean, they said they cared about continuity, but they didn't care as long as it was a better story. I don't know that there was another ship. When you say second ship, my theory behind that is is that, from my understanding, the dialogue indicates 50 ships went up against the Borg cube at Wolf 359. 49 of those ships were reported destroyed. I think it was 50. It was at least one less than how many ships went there were destroyed. So my theory may have been is that the Borg beamed onto one of the ships, successfully assimilated it, and went back to the Delta Quadrant. Due to my fear of the Borg, I never watched your Borg series. So I must ask, so long as you one-shot a Borg ship, can you defeat a Borg fleet? You can defeat the Borg ship, in theory. It depends on which series you're watching. The Next Generation, the way it worked is the first time you hit the ship, you obliterate. You do full damage. The second time, they've adapted. So in theory, and that was the whole point of the mega weapon that Riker had, you hit it once, you hit it with everything you got, you destroy it. In theory, yeah, if you can hit it once and they're not going to block it at all, you've won. J.R. Chadwick, there were 40 ships. Okay, yeah, I mean, someone's going to complain about that now, I'm sure. How do you not know there were 40 ships? But yeah, there were 40 ships. I believe the dialogue indicated 39 were destroyed, so one probably got away. Gene Roddenberry didn't want Starfleet to be a military, but diplomatic and scientific. Yeah, Gene Roddenberry had a lot of bad ideas. Agreed. Who is to say that the Borg has not utilized personal subspace corridors? I don't know. I mean, technically, who's to say they haven't used magical unicorns? And that's how they actually power the dimensional shifts that they have. I mean, who is really to say when it comes to all that? When Star Trek First Contact came out, was at the time of the Vietnam War, and that war was very unpopular. When Star Trek First came out, not Star Trek First Contact. I was about to say. Well, interestingly, Gene Roddenberry didn't have a ton of control in the original series, which is why it was more military. He would have had it more look like The Next Generation, Season 1, Season 2. The Borg Queen is a control program AI. Maybe. It was the Oberth ship that got away and kept scanning them from a distance. We see an Oberth ship destroyed at Wolf 359. So, I don't believe they had two. We know at least one Oberth was destroyed, though. Is Romulan space still a threat after Romulus destruction, or is it infighting or what? After I watch Picard, I'll let you know. Star Trek was considered nerdy when it came out. It was. It's still nerdy. Ship number 40 was the Enterprise D. J.R. Chadwick helping out at $2. I don't think so. The Enterprise D was not at the Battle of Wolf 359. So I actually somewhat disagree with that. They said there were 40 ships, 39 survived. Enterprise D didn't participate at Wolf 359. That is either stupid dialogue, which shouldn't have been included, and anyone who said it should know better in the show as military people. If that's what they were trying to portray, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I could see a writer doing that, but it makes more sense that there were 40 ships with one surviving and that ship actually being assimilated. But, I mean, when you say that, I could see a writer doing it. I don't know. No, not true. It's not possible. The Oberths are treasured of the fleet. They're the most loved. Did you know that Kirk's green shirt on TOS was solely to show off CBS's color television technology? Yeah, I can see CBS doing that. I hate CBS. DS9 season 7 episode Filled Fire. It was a micro transporter. Yeah, but that was for to fight the Borg. It was an actual bullet, though. Picard said he was there, and then the Queen said humans think in such three-dimensional terms. I take that to mean she was there in the way, not in 3 dimensions we think, but was in his mind. I don't. But you see her there. It is completely inferred that she was there. She touches him. She interacts at the Borg cube. It is. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, and I understand, and that does make some sense. I just don't think that's the way they were trying to go with it. I mean, that makes sense. J.R. Chadwick, all right. I'm not a huge fan. Memory Alpha is a great resource. I like them. I even give them... I put in there to go check them out in every video that I do. But you should always verify yourself, because at the end of the day, it is a wiki, and they have been wrong a lot. All right, so again, J.R. Chadwick, you may be right. This is just looking at the Memory Alpha wiki, which again, we'd all need to go check. But according to them, they confirm what I was thinking, which says there were 40 ships, 39 ships destroyed, 11,000 killed or assimilated. Does it say which ship survived? They say the Cheyenne class, the USS Ahwahnee, was heavily damaged. Wreckage was salvaged and repaired by early 2368. I'm assuming that's in dialogue, because I do not remember that. I mean, maybe that's what it was, J.R. Chadwick. I don't know. I don't know that I buy that necessarily. Because, it doesn't make a ton of sense to me, simply because, why would you include the Enterprise D? It wasn't there. It would be like, after the Battle of the Binary Stars, a ship, the Klingon ships that show up after the Battle of the Binary Stars, it would be like including those ships, because ships were leaving and entering that area, helping out the main ship that had been damaged, right? Do you think a modified Vengeance could take out a Borg cube single-handedly? I think the USS Vengeance would have a better chance, for sure. Aerial Ballet. Queenette Wolf, after battle, some got away on the one ship, or like in the First Contact, a sphere popped out and left for the Delta Quadrant. It could be. Time to rewatch Best of Both Worlds. Yeah, you may be right, J.R. Chadwick. Maybe that it was in the dialogue. If it's in the dialogue, I'm not a huge fan of it. I'll be completely honest. Where there's a Defiant class ship in Star Trek Voyager, we see several different Defiant class ships in Star Trek Voyager. We see it, Message in a Bottle. We see 2 Defiant class starships, and then in the series finale, we see a Defiant class starship. I wonder if Starfleet, it was seen as part of the Tachyon detection net during the Klingon Civil War. It was probably just a reuse of the name and registry number. Maybe. If it was the exact same ship, if they actually showed the ship and it looked the same, and they could have repaired it. I could see them doing that. I'm not talking about the rifle. I'm just talking about the microtransporter itself was underutilized. Oh, I agree, Just Attack, a lot. You see, here's the thing. In the real world, the writers, if you watch the behind the scenes, they constantly talked about how they had to figure out ways to get around technology. The technology was so powerful. Like, why couldn't they replicate X? Why couldn't they transport Y? And so that's some of the reasons you saw it underutilized too, because you would have technology in one-offs that would just, completely destroy entire arcs. Why the Borg not use cloaking tech, especially to get to Earth without anyone knowing until it's too late? So that's something that constantly comes up. The only reason why I think the Borg wouldn't use cloaking tech, there's a couple of reasons. Maybe they couldn't get it to work, or they couldn't make it work effectively. We know that cloaking technology isn't perfect. The more powerful a ship is, or the larger a ship is, the harder it is for the cloaking tech to work. The other idea is that the Borg, in their hubris, may not have considered it perfection, or may have considered it a useless technology. Why would the Borg need it with their superior? Yeah, and that's, again, going back to the hubris. They could basically beat almost anybody. So why? And in the time it would take to develop the cloaking technology, they could just build whatever they need to defeat the enemy they're going up against. Shouldn't the Borg have cloaking technology? Oh, we already said that. We need to get Lore Master to $100. Look at him. He's wasting away and about coming to tears. I don't know about wasting away. I have lost quite a bit of weight, though. You can only use a tech solution once, then it breaks and you can never use it again. Absolutely. That is exactly how it works. I think the Borg didn't use cloaks because of plot. Yes, I would agree. The Borg haven't assimilated plot, so they don't understand it. That's true. Plot armor is something they have yet to figure out. I've actually discussed the Borg farming. In some ways it makes sense, in others it doesn't at all. The Borg farming theory breaks down when you consider it holistically, but it's kind of a fun idea. Must save the lore master, says Ariel Ballet. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. You know, again, I can't do this without your guys' support and doing things like that. I love what I do. I love being an entertainer. And if I could do it and nobody had to spend a dime, I would. But, you know, you guys don't know how much it is. You guys help me out. Really. There's more than just the 2 Defiant Class 6 and Voyager. I believe in the finale they at least had one, I think. Although using the phase cloak could give the Federation a huge advantage over the Borg, phase a small ship into a cube and release the antimatter. Correct, or you just put quantum torpedoes in it. Honestly, after the events of Paradise Lost, why a blade of armor, wasn't installed in every Starfleet vessel is criminal. It could be that they didn't have a time because the war was heating up and they were still spread thin. Or it could only be utilized on newer ships. What do you think of the sci-fi series Farscape and the bioship Moya? I don't know a lot about Farscape. I've actually stated this multiple times. But Farscape doesn't make sense to me as a series. But I've only seen it intermittently. I think it's an interesting concept, but I've stated that I won't do it because it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I can be changed around on that, but I need to first get some projects that I've dedicated to do. I need to start regularly doing BattleTech. I need to start regularly doing Battlestar Galactica and one other one that escapes me right now. And a part of it is the algorithm change. And one of the reasons why I'm heavily doing Star Trek right now is because of I enjoy it, but it's also because of the way they're doing the algorithm. Once I get into a steady stance and get those 3 down, I might actually start watching Stargate is the other one I want to do. I might actually start watching Farscape and we'll go from there. Right now, Farscape makes no sense to me. It doesn't seem consistent at all. Yeah, you have to watch Farscape in order from the beginning. Yeah, people have stated that. All right, guys, taking a look at it, I do have to head out. Thanks so much for watching. I'm going to try to do something tomorrow. I need to get this script done, so I think I'm going to work on that. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Again, thank you so much for, just being here and having a conversation. I love this. I love doing this for you guys. I honestly, I always feel great after a live stream. So thanks so much. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, guys. I'm going to see you on the next. Wait for it. Lore Reloaded.